Hi, welcome to another video. My name is Chris Capitura. I'm here with Dr. Sharif Ibrahim, and we're going to be talking about sugar, what it does to your body shape or what it can do to your body physically. Sharif, the first thing we need to do, though, and this is a word that gets thrown around a lot, is obesity. But we want to make a very simple distinction between two types of obesity. So let's start there today.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. I think this is the most important, really, distinction which we should really make between healthy obesity and unhealthy obesity. And I think the difference is based on one thing, which is accumulation of fat in the medium. I have seen many patients or people, they are overweight, or when we do their body mass index, it falls in the obesity range. But when we check everything else, they are all normal. They are obese by the BMI, but they are normal if we take, for example, their blood sugar, their hemoglobin A1C, their insulin level, their inflammatory markers. It comes normal. This is a normal obesity. But when the person starts having accumulation of fat in the abdomen, what we call belly fat, they attain a different shape. You see, the normal obese, they have fat accumulated around the hip, giving them the pear shape. But the abnormal obese, they have fat accumulation in the middle, giving them the apple shape. And so the apple shape is abnormal and the pear shape is normal.
Yeah, Sharif, it's interesting. I was out recently, and because we've been talking about this, I've been noticing people, and I saw a couple who had these lean limbs, but they had these very round upper bodies. What was in their cart when we were checking out was chips. It was cans of pop or soda, fizzy drink, depending on where you are in the world, and just an assortment of very bad food that right away I knew was just not going to help them at all. This morning, I was out and there was a gentleman in line in front of me, again, lean limbs, but the back of his neck was just fat. What's that about?
This is called buffalo hump, and it's a sign of a sugar problem. So it's accumulation of fat on the back of the neck. Patients who have sugar problems have their adrenal gland working over time. These people have sugar spikes and sugar crashes. And when they crash, the cortisol or the adrenal hormones will go around and try to fetch some sugar. Sugar is stored in liver and muscle in the form of glycogen. When the sugar stores has been exhausted, then the body will break down muscles to make sugar and top up the blood sugar for the use of the brain. So that gives them belly fat. They have got big tummy, but very lean limbs.
Now, you were talking about the liver for a second there, and so we should be talking a little bit about the fatty liver situation, and that will lead us into the man boobs, or as we had said when I was a kid, we used to call them moobs. But it's interesting that it's not a direct result of fat that you're eating that's making you have fat in your body. It's the sugar that the fatty liver is having an issue with. I was so astonished when you told me exactly what happens with the testosterone.
There are three reasons for these man boobs. Number one, because the testosterone becomes lower while the estrogen is going up. So this can happen in three scenarios. The first scenario, everyone with sugar problem, their insulin will go high. And when the insulin go high, it produces something called sex hormone binding protein in the blood. And this sex hormone binding protein will get attached to most of the testosterone, leaving a small amount of free effective testosterone. And so they could have a good level of testosterone or even a high level of testosterone, but the effective one may be too low. That's one scenario. The other scenario, the belly fat produce an enzyme called aromatase. And this aromatase, interestingly, it converts testosterone, the man hormone, into estrogen, the female hormone. And this also gives the balance more for estrogen. So the estrogen would be relatively high than testosterone. The third element, which you mentioned already, is the fact that with development of fatty liver, the liver will be converted into a fat store, and it does not really do its job properly. And one of the job of the liver is to detoxify estrogen. So when the estrogen is not detoxified, estrogen level will go high. And so now you have got like a higher level of estrogen, and the testosterone will be relatively low, because estrogen is the hormone that promotes development of breast tissue.
I'm fascinated by all of the mechanics and the chemistry of our body. There are a couple of other body altering situations or symptoms that people can look for when it comes to sugar. Can you talk about skin tags and the discoloration?
Yes, I think these are the commonest actually sign of sugar problem. When you see this darkening of the skin, we call it medically as acanthosis nigricans, which can happen on the face, neck, but they are more common actually in the armpit. That's one very common sign of sugar problem. The other sign of sugar problem is skin tags, which can happen anywhere in the body. And interestingly, these signs actually would regress and start to disappear when the sugar problems improves.
Yeah, that's the one that always makes me smile. If you just take care of your body, as we've been talking about in all our videos, you can reverse some of these conditions. So let's talk a little bit about the solution. If you've been following us for a while or you've watched our videos, you know that we talk a lot about insulin. And in this case, it's the same thing, Sharif. They've got to eat properly, and they've got to help their insulin, and they've got to help the body by fueling it correctly in order to be able to combat these alterations that are happening in the body.
You need to lower the insulin level by two mechanisms. One mechanism is to eat the right food, slow carbs, no simple sugar. Eat the slow carbs, fruits and vegetables, beans. These are all carbs which have a lot of fiber on them to make them slow actually to enter the bloodstream. And it will help you to keep a steady blood sugar level within the normal range. The other trick is to eat less often. Instead of doing 3 meals and 3 snacks, you can do 3 meals only. And that actually is going to lower your insulin level. And when your insulin level comes down, then all these signs of sugar problems will disappear.
And the final one we want to talk about is just move. So if you do have those 3 meals without the snacks, on the main meal, take some time after the meal to go for a walk, just 15 minutes. Now, I know some of you who are listening may be obese and say, Chris, I'm too heavy to do any exercise. Actually, that's very counterproductive. The thought is just move. Put your running shoes on and just walk around the block the first time. Maybe it's a 5-minute walk, and maybe you are exhausted, but your body's going to thank you, because part of the process is eating correctly. Part of the process is knowing when to eat and the amount, but your body still needs you to move in order to help with the whole process.
Yeah, I think you see intermittent fasting is another technique to improve your insulin sensitivity and lower your insulin level. You can do the intermittent fasting. You fast for 16 hours and have 8 hours eating window. Or even you can do a longer water fast. Say you do 24-hour water fast, which is also very good and would help lower your insulin level.
You can go into our YouTube channel, and we have some videos on intermittent fasting that'll help you out with that. As always, Sharif, thanks so much for the great information. Thank you, everyone, for watching the video. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care. Sharif and I appreciate you liking this video, and more importantly, remember to subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of content that we're going to be creating, and we don't want you to miss a single second of it.